meeting agenda, Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. And item number 1 is seating of alternates. Cheryl, if you could sit for Rick, and Ken is going to sit for Jack Barkley. Okay. Item number 2 is to review the minutes of the December 2nd, 2020 special meeting. Did everybody get a copy of that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I did read through it. Does anybody have any comments or questions or changes they want to make?
Nope.
No.
Okay, can we, someone make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted to us?
I move that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Do we have a
so-
second? Do we have a second for that?
Oh, yeah. Who wants to second it?
Gary, maybe Ken. I mean, sorry.
Ken, you want to second that?
I'll second that.
Good boy. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good.
Now we have
Item-
to approve the December 3rd site visit as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think, isn't there a note in here about that?
No.
I was going to put that under member comments. We don't really have a place for it. I'll tell you what, we're in number 3, additions to agenda. Bob, you want to add that to this right here, this section?
Yes.
Okay.
I move to add the December 3rd site visit to the agenda.
Okay. All those in favor of changing the agenda and adding the site visit 96 Knott Highway?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, all right. So let me just, did everybody get a copy of it? I know Ken said he got one. Did everybody read it?
Yes.
So, well, I'll just read it real quick. It's short. So this was the site visit 96 Knott Highway, December 3rd. Present was myself, Bob, and Cheryl.
Lenny,
Yes.
may I interject here?
Yeah. Who's this? Yeah.
This is Cheryl Baker. You got
Sure.
an email from the town clerk letting you know that that was not a legal meeting because it was not posted or posted in advance.
Yeah, we
of the law.
realized that. Yeah. So going forward, we will.
So anything that was discussed at that meeting is not.
Yeah, nothing of any substance was discussed. It was just a simple walkthrough. And we do have the minutes and they were posted on the website. So it's only one paragraph. It says the commissioners were shown the extent of the new gravel fill designed to allow machinery to be used to stack wood behind a building to fuel the heating system located there. The owner stated that he did not plan to pave over the fill in the future. The original engineering plan on file at the town hall showed concrete blocks that delineated the historically established filled area adjacent to the wetlands. These blocks were not evident. The commissioners were shown the flag delineation of the new extent of the wetlands resulting from the fill activity at the site, and the meeting was adjourned at 4:30. So we're going to pick this up again under item D, but for right now, we're just adding this to our agenda. Okay. Okay, we're gonna.
I move to accept the minutes of the
Okay.
site visit as read.
All right. Is there a second to accept it as read? That just me and Cheryl. So that was what happened. So I'll second it.
Okay.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Under item number 4 is old business. We're back to 33 Amadon Drive, construction of retaining wall fencing and landscaping. And Joe sent us a update on that. And it was from Tracy. Is anybody here from 33 Amadon? No? Okay, so we got a December 4th, Tracy Smith sent Joe a short letter. Basically what it says is that they would like to change the amendment to the permit to include just stump removal together with work to the staircase and stone wall by the house. The other work to the property can be a separate permit. So apparently what they've not submitted to us the information that we had requested, basically all the things that the engineer had outlined for us. And they've thought this out a little bit more, and now they wanted to scale back the project significantly. Joe, is that correct?
Yeah, yes, that is correct, Lenny. I do want to clarify something, though. I did not receive that email until today. She mistakenly sent that to George Barber on December 24th. So I did not have that email until today. But that is the case. I did speak with her briefly on the phone today, and that's what she said. You know, basically, they just don't have the information you guys need at this point. So
yeah. So it's such a big difference from the original application. And I mean, I'm not exactly sure, which stump and what work she's specifically talking about the staircase and the wall by the house. I mean, if she's together with work, so the applicant would like to change and amend the permit to include just stump removal together with work to the staircase and stone wall by the house. So, I mean,
yeah, I spoke with her earlier today, and they said they were going to attend a meeting. So I guess if they're not here, I told them, I said, I didn't have any issues with the with the wall that they put up, the fence. But I do agree, it is kind of vague. I mean, they did talk about the stump removal, and one of the site plans that was accepted did show where they were going to remove the stumps. They were on the side of the house, adjacent to the rock wall and yard area. But I'm not really sure about the staircase. And when she says the stone wall by the house, I don't know if she's talking about the retaining wall or something else. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think she's talking about the wall that they already constructed, because that's not made of stone. That was a wooden or
Right.
Plastic wall or whatever. But
yeah.
But so the way you could, there's two ways you can deal with this. Number one would be to, because you're not clear as to what they're actually proposing here, you could deny the application without prejudice, and they could reapply for just the things that they're talking about here, which are the stump removal, the staircase, and the stone wall by the house. The other work, which I think that they were talking about, was the pool and some of the big additions to the house and things. So
Yeah.
That's the one way you could do it, or you could try to sort out what they're talking about. But because they're not here tonight to tell you what you're really looking for here, I think you got one avenue.
Yeah. I mean, I know there were several walls on that property. I know there was one near the house on one side of the house, and I know they were doing an awful lot of work on that staircase. So, but without a real plan and all that, I can't see how we can just, take the application that we have in front of us with 3 lines of verbiage and and make those kind of changes to a pretty significant application. So how much more time do we have on this, Joe?
So I looked it up. This application is accepted September 1, 2020. So normally you have 65 days to act on that. With the 90-day extension due to the COVID thing, you guys would have to issue an approval or denial on our next meeting, which would be February 2nd.
Yeah.
So technically you have one more month.
Yeah.
It's apparent. I don't think they're going to be doing the work there now. I don't know where the lake level is at this point, but
Yeah.
if you wanted to table it, you could ask them for for them to clarify, what they're revising their application to,
Yeah.
either in the form of a good narrative or a narrative and a site plan, because you guys need something tangible to issue a permit on. You can't just say, okay, you can do the stone wall by the house,
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm worried about is that we've had, pretty low turnout as far as the commissioners are concerned. I mean, we're relying on two of our alternates every month, and if one of us doesn't come next month, this whole permit is approved. If we don't have a meeting.
No, to clarify, it's not approved. It doesn't mean it's automatically approved. All that means is that the applicant has the opportunity to go to DEEP for approval, but it doesn't mean it's an automatic, you can do whatever you want.
Well, and we also have a few days after that 90 days, I think 5 extra days to where we can make, a recommendation. So it's not the end of the world.
No.
I mean, thank you, Joe. It's a good summation. I guess where I come out is that with the low, turnout that we have in a commission, the fact that there's COVID around still, if we were to table it and wait till, and rely on you to talk to them and to get something in front of us, it might need that we might have to, do another site walk. So, I think at this point, with the major change that they're asking for and the vagueness of what they're asking, I would entertain, just denying it without prejudice, and just, let them know that they're obviously can come back at any time and revise the application or resubmit it.
It would have to be a resubmittal. If you were going to deny without prejudice, they would have to resubmit a brand new application.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where I come out on it. So Bob, what's your feeling on it?
I agree with everything that's been said. We should deny without prejudice, but with the codicil, that we do need the engineer's plans and the surveyor's drawings in order to make a decision on this.
Well, I think that's good. We'll so as part of the denial without prejudice, we'll list those things. So that's a good point. Cheryl, where do you stand with that?
Right. I don't think we should hang on to it any longer in the hopes that we get some additional information. I do think that what's before us is incredibly vague. I'm fine with denying it without prejudice, and for the reasons stated, that we did not receive the information that we requested. And, let's be really clear with them as to what information we need from them in order to make a decision on what they want to do now.
Yeah.
In the same.
Okay.
That's what I would suggest.
Good. And Ken, how do you feel about that?
Difficult for me to hear what other people are saying here, but this project seems to me to, since I'm an uneducated, illiterate person on this kind of thing, sort of complicated, hard for me to follow the drawings and things like that. If they're going to make substantial changes in it, do it over.
All right, and that's fair. Okay, well, it seems like we're all in agreement. So Cheryl, why don't you make a motion? I would, in the motion, probably just, reference the engineer's letter that we previously sent to them. And I would, make note of the fact that, that the latest, information that we received is just not adequate, and it's too vague. And it's not in the best interest of the town or the committee to accept this kind of an application without, a lot more information.
Okay, well, I didn't write down everything you just asked me to say. However, I'd be happy to move. So I move that this application be rejected. Excuse me, this application be denied without prejudice. For the reason being that the information that we have requested that was sent to the applicant based on an expert engineering advice that we received was not submitted and has not been submitted to date. And in addition, substantial revisions have been requested to this application, which may or may not require such substantial information. However, we don't have enough information to make that decision. We will need to see a drawing and a description that shows what they want to do when they resubmit their application.
Okay.
Can I
Yeah,
comment on that?
Yes, Bob.
It seems to me that the things that they're asking for do not impact the actual edge of the wetlands, the stump removal and the staircase and stone wall. I think I know what staircase and stone wall they're talking about. So it could be that maybe I'm asking the question, do we need both engineers' plans and the surveyor's plans for the reduced requests? Or do we need both of those things no matter what they're asking for?
Well, I think what we're looking for is just, we have an application in front of us. All right. And we have not received the information that we requested, not even close to it. So just based on that, we should, deny the application without prejudice. We're just simply going to mention that, we just received some additional request, but it was vague, and it just doesn't give us enough information to make any kind of a rational decision on it. So, and it wasn't part of the application from the beginning. So
Well, insofar as the application was vague anyway from the beginning, I agree with you. But I do know what staircase and stone wall they're talking about.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stone walls.
Yes.
So maybe but honestly, I've been there twice, 3 times now. I don't know which wall it is.
Sure.
So, okay. Ken, do you have any further comments on Cheryl's denial?
Motion.
Like I said, difficult for me to hear what anybody else is saying, but no further comments now.
Okay. All right.
I second Cheryl's motion.
Okay, so we have a second. All those in favor of Cheryl's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Ken?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. So the application for 33 Eminent Drive has been denied without prejudice. Joe, if you can, you've been talking to them, so maybe you could, just give them a call. And just let them know, what the decision was, why we made that decision, and that they're free to make another application and come back.
Question, do we have to do that in writing?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll take care of that for us, Joe, and you call them for us.
Roger that.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, let's move on to item C, the Martin Family Living Trust, 9 Maple Drive.
Whoa. Lenny, you missed B.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go back. Oh, Kay is here. Okay, 31 Amidon Drive, septic system inspection, construction of sidewalk, dock, and handrails on stairs leading into lake. So, the last meeting, we approved a bifurcated application, which basically allowed you to do your research and whatever you had to do on the septic system, and that the remaining work that you had asked for was basically tabled, and would have to be, reapplied. So where are you now as far as the septic system is concerned? What have you done so far?
Well, when the permit came in, there was snow on the ground. So we're gonna wait till spring. When we know that the ground isn't gonna freeze or whatever.
So do you have any septic problems in your house?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna probably see some in the future.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
this
so,
is why,
so a permit is good for about 10 years, right, Joe?
5 years, Lenny.
5.
5 years, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Five.
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it as soon as we
but
can.
This
And
is something that's important to you and should be done soon.
yeah, I'm gonna do it as soon as we can in the spring.
Okay.
And
All right.
the other thing is, I want to say something about 33 Amadon Drive. The last 2 sections of that fence are like 13 or 14 feet high from the ground, 11, 12 feet. That's way past a permit.
What are you talking about now?
The last 2 sections
height?
of that fence,
The height of the fence?
yeah, it's like 11 or 12 feet high.
Okay, well, that's more a building permit
Well, they
question.
seem to be passing the buck here because they say it's you. So
Who says it's us?
I'm going to find out one way or the other
Yeah,
eventually. But
who said it was us?
I talked to somebody down in building. I don't
Do you
know that
remember who you
guy's-
talked
I
to?
don't know the guy's name. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Well, yeah.
um,
How long has that fence been up? Okay.
pardon me?
How long has the fence been up?
They started putting that fence up in April and they finished it in September, October.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they never came to us for any kind of permit for that.
I know.
And I'm assuming that they got a building permit, but I don't know.
No, they didn't.
But
That I
Actually,
do.
Lenny, Lenny, they did come before us for a permit. I did issue them an agent issued permit
oh,
to construct that fence. The only thing that was not included in that was the last section of the fence that they bought, that they constructed. And that was part of the permit that you guys were just reviewing.
huh.
And as far as I know, there are no restrictions on any height limitations on constructions of any fences.
Yeah.
But it blocked my view of the lake. So I'm not going to be done with this.
Yeah.
Anyhow, on the handicap railings going down my stairs, do I need to get an engineer to put those in? The railings to go down my stairs so I don't fall?
Well, I mean, according to the engineer, I mean, he's pretty specific about what he was looking for as far as, and
I'm not
especially
talking about the dock. I'm talking about the
the
handicap
stairs.
rail.
Yeah. Yeah.
All you gotta do is drill 3 holes and put a pipe in and put some cement in. And it's simple as that.
Well,
And just for the record, Lenny, I don't feel that an engineer needs to be involved
in that,
for somebody to construct some stairs going down into a pond or to put up a handrail. That's
Yeah.
To me that's not
Yeah.
required.
well, why don't we do this, Joe? Why don't you go back and take a look at that, and, if we were able to do an approval on the fence next door, we probably can do it an approval on that, but would you take a look at it first and then report back?
Well, you guys have an application in front of you. She's given you complete plans for,
Right,
you know,
but
for a walkway. She's given you plans for a stairwell and steps.
Right.
You know,
But then-
again, I don't feel, honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't feel that the application in front of you for 31 Amazon Drive needs an engineered plan to construct a walkway and some stairwell, you know, some stairs
Right.
that lead down a 2-foot drop from level into a pond. I don't feel that's
But
necessary.
then the rest of the application calls for a 25-foot long dock, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be dropping that.
Okay. All right, well, then
For
we're
the
kind
time
of back
being.
to, so then we're back to something fairly simple, which is just the handrails, right? And a couple steps, is that what you're saying?
Well, I'd like to be able to put a sidewalk in without an engineer.
Yeah, the site walk is shown on the site plan as well. The
Yeah,
sidewalk. Yep.
is that the gravel? It's gravel, right? It's not.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
Part of it-
Stone, right?
part of it is tar, and there's a square in front of my kitchen door that,
So
it's
some of it's
cement.
stone.
that is cement.
Yeah.
And then my husband put in bricks to try to make a sidewalk, but now it's getting all
Yeah.
disheveled and stuff, and I need to put something better in,
Right,
something that will last.
right. Well, I guess I would feel okay, but I would like to have something in writing in our, for our records, you know, where kind of something similar to what we got from the last applicant, but maybe a little more, you know, referring more to the plans that you already submitted, you know, that you only want to do these items and these other items you're not going to do. And the other,
Yeah, I'm dropping the dock
the
right
dock,
now.
the
I'll come
25
back
feet
to it
out.
later on.
Yeah,
But come spring, I would like to get those handicapped rails in, because
yeah.
those stairs are very dangerous for me.
Okay, so let me just make sure I understand. So at this point right now, there's no real hazard as far as septic goes in your house, and you feel comfortable that you can wait until later on or the spring to
Well, I mean, if something happens during the winter, so far so good. I'm
Yeah.
praying, crossing my fingers.
right, and you have a permit to do whatever.
Yes,
you gotta
I
do
have the
anyway.
permit for that.
Okay. And then as far as the application that you've given us so far, the thing that gave us the most headache, I guess, was the you know, the dock that went out
The dock.
into the lake. And so if we can, again, you know, bifurcate your application to limit the scope of work to you know, the walk and the handrails, and was there a couple of steps too right there?
Yeah, there will be a couple of steps put in at the bottom, so I
Right.
can get into the water
Okay.
safer.
All right. Okay.
I don't know how we're going to do it, but it'll be
Yeah.
done.
Okay. All right. So as far as the materials and things are concerned, everything that was in your application, you're not changing any of that, right? You're just.
No, I'm not changing anything.
Okay.
No.
All right. Joe,
thank
do you
Thank
feel
you for
like,
the permit.
okay,
by the way.
Joe, do you feel like there's a clear line that we can see, you know, of what's not going to be built out there?
Absolutely, Lenny. I mean, she's basically telling you that she's omitting the dock from the application.
Yeah.
She's just doing the steps, the you know, the handrail and the walkway, all
Yeah.
of which I have no issues with.
And none of them are in the water. It's all on. her
Absolutely not.
property. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't the steps already exist and they're just going to be maintained or something like that? Or are they going to be rebuilt?
Do you mean my staircase?
Yes, they're down to the
No.
water, aren't there?
No,
aren't
the
there some
cement stairs are gonna stay, and they're still in pretty good shape, so I'm not having anything done to them.
So all
Okay.
that's happening is you're going to put the handrails on and build a
Yeah,
walk.
it's on the sides. I don't know if you can
Alright.
see my hands, but the sides about 8-9 inches wide
Yeah.
going down. And the railings will be put on both sides.
All right, well, that's fair enough. Okay, I think
And
I
you've
get
got
it.
the dimensions there because.
Yeah, we're
they
gonna,
got
we
drawn
do.
on.
It was a decent plan. Okay. Joe, you have anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay. Bob, what are your feeling on all this?
I just moved, we should accept Kay's application as she's modified it to allow her to put in the walk and the handrails. It seems very reasonable to me.
Yeah, okay. Cheryl, where are you?
I second that.
Okay. Ken?
That's fine to me.
Okay. All right. Since you've done such a good job on the first one, Cheryl, you want to take a stab at this one? Or I could, either way.
I thought that Bob just moved that we accept it.
Well, I was asking him a question and he moved, but I just want to make sure that.
Well, let's let Bob have a chance to move. How about that?
Okay, Bob.
Okay, I move that the work at 31 Amidon Drive proceed with the installation of the walk and the handrails as described in the plans.
Okay, and that the remaining work is eliminated from the application, will not be constructed under this application, right?
Okay, remaining work will be eliminated from
Yeah.
this application.
Okay. All right. Cheryl, you good with that?
I second that.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, good. All right. Good job. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. I jumped the gun last time, but I think we're on to the Martin Family Trust, 9 Maple Drive. So we did get some additional information in, and I did actually talk to the engineer as well. So if you recall a while ago, the engineer sent us quite a pretty good letter outlining the things that he thought were important in the application. I did speak with him for a little bit, and I reminded him that the wall is really just 2 feet tall, and that it's not really a structural wall, and we our biggest concern, I think, at that time, or at least mine, was just to be sure that if a new wall was to be, the old wall, stone wall, which there isn't much of a stone wall there. We did look at that, but those stones would be taken out, and then this nice, block wall would be put in its place. We just wanted to be sure that it would not, go into the lake at all. I mean, it's not going to go any further than what the last wall was. And because the new wall has got straight lines, and obviously the property line, which is common with the lake, is not straight lines. We felt that we should somehow devise a way that we could assure ourselves that if the wall were to be approved, that it would not be any closer to the lake than the one that's there today. And so we did get a nice drawing. And Cliff, you're here, right, Cliff?
Yes, I am.
And you and I guess your neighbor did some nice work. It looks like you took some measurements off of the wall of or the foundation of your house, and you put some stakes in the ground and some points on the ground to show us exactly where that wall is today. Was that what we were trying for there?
Yes. The stakes are in about 12 inches from
Yeah.
where the water line is, and I did this with Tom Martin, who's who is with the LCIA. He is the one that worked with me when we did the survey here.
Yeah. So I mean, it looks to me like you've done a decent job of trying to figure out, you know, where that wall is and how you can reconstruct that.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
that
You
location.
could measure it at any time, as long as I don't move the house, and I don't think we're going to do
Yeah.
that anytime.
So I appreciate that. That was our, you know, at least mine, that was my biggest concern. The engineer did say that if it would be prudent to put in some filter fabric along the face of the wall, you know, near your house.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. You put the filter fabric in there and a stone behind it to give it some room to move around. Yep.
Yep. And as far as I don't know if there were any other manufacturers' directions on a wall like that. I know you sent us some cuts, right? Some wall cuts
Yep.
that came from the manufacturer.
Right. Yeah. The cut sheet. Yep.
Yeah. And so, I mean, as far as I'm concerned at this point, after talking with the engineer and seeing the work that you've done, realizing that the wall is only a couple feet high and that you're going to be, you know, doing the crushed stone and the filter fabric and making sure that it's going to stay the right distance away from the lake. You know, I feel a lot better today than I did the last couple times, and I did go out and look at it myself, and Bob did too. So let me go around the room again. Bob, you were there. Do you have any questions before you make a motion, or you have any concerns?
Yes, I do have concerns. Okay. What worries me is the position of the wall. We don't know where the property lines are. And it's underlying the previous discussion is the assumption the property line is where people assume that the edge of the lake is, and that is where the wetlands start. Where that property, where the property line ends, is where the wetlands start, and it's the wetlands we're trying to protect. Now, if we don't know where the property line is, we don't know where this wall is going to be. Now, if we knew where the property line is and where the wall is supposed to be, we could make a decision about whether or not we agree with the position of the wall. Now, that doesn't mean to say we're going to say it has to be at the property line or whatever, but we don't know where the property line is. Okay. Now, I've heard it said in a previous meeting that there isn't information at the town hall that defines where the property line is, and I beg to disagree on that. On the deed of all houses is dimensions of the lot, and those dimensions can be sorted out by a qualified surveyor to define where the property line is. So I'm extremely uncomfortable in approving any wall. I'm not finished yet, Lenny. I'm uncomfortable in approving any wall where I don't know where the actual edge of the wetlands is when the wall is proposed to be on the edge of the wetlands. So I would have to vote against this. I mean, I can see why you want to allow, it's only a 2-foot wall. I agree with that. It's not of enormous consequence. But when we approve a wall like this without acknowledging where the property line is, we're setting a precedent for every single wall that people want to put in all the way around the lake. And I don't like the sound of that precedent. Okay, I've finished now.
I understand. Are there any other concerns beside the surveying part of it and the location of the property line? Bob?
No.
Okay. Cheryl, where are you with this?
Well, it's a little bit of a tough one. I on the principle of it, I do agree with Bob. I really don't ever feel that comfortable with a wetland application that where there is potential for the application to be in a wetland as opposed to in the upland review area without a survey. However, the one thing that I noticed in the nice drawing that was provided today to us is the note that mentions that the perimeter of the wall will be 12 inches in or landward of the water's edge high level mark when the water is going over the spillway. In other words, it's a foot landward of the lake level when it's high. So to me, in some ways, that's a conservative estimate of the edge of the lake, provided that the land itself hasn't been added to over the years. You know, that's something I wouldn't be able to tell since I was not at the site. So that's just my thoughts on it. I'm not as uncomfortable with that language in the application, and as long as that was a part of any approval that we, you know, might get.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I stand on it.
Good, thank you. Ken, do you have any comments or questions?
No comments.
Okay. Okay, well, so here's where my feeling is this, that first of all, the Lake Association said several times, and Mike, you can verify this, that the exact location of Cliff's property line is really not your concern, right? And that you know, and the I understand what you're saying, Bob, but I'm more interested in the location of the wetlands, right? And I mean, whether we knew where the property line was or not, I mean, it doesn't really change where the wetlands are. Okay. I mean, if the property line, extreme example, was 5 feet into the water, that wouldn't change anything. And if it was, you know, 5 feet further away, you know, towards his house, I don't see how that would change anything. So right now we have a stone wall, which is holding back earth for the most part. We can see where it is. They've located that, you know, on a plan, which to me looks fairly reasonable. You know, I like what Cheryl said about the conservative nature of the location of the wall with respect to the wetlands. You know, and so I'm not against this application now that I've seen all the information and having been there. And you know, Cliff has assured us that you know, he's being reasonable and thorough and conservative. So you know, I mean, as far as the construction of the wall itself, you know, we have the cut sheets. We understand about the crushed stone. We understand about the silt fence, the height. There's a wall right next to his property that's much, you know, 3 times that height of the one that he's proposing. So, Joe, what do you feel?
My honest read on this, Lenny, is you guys are a wetlands commission. You guys, your charge is to evaluate wetlands, wetland impacts, propose activities to wetlands. It's not your job to be surveyors. And when an applicant puts an application in front of you, doing their best to explain what they're doing and where they're doing it, it's not going to come back on you if for some reason, some crazy reason, this poor guy builds his wall 12 inches or 14 inches further into what may or may not be his property. So my recommendation would be to approve this application. You're covered.
And especially given that, you know, the Lake Association has been present at all these meetings and has told us more than once that, they're not that concerned about the, the exact location of this property line. So
My only concern with this, honestly, and you talk about precedences, and again, you have applicants. I mean, you have to understand, we have dozens of people building retaining walls without permits in this town that I just can't catch. I just can't get them. And you have somebody in front of you here that's really working hard to give you guys what you need. And again, if you're going to do this, then you're going to have to start requiring A2 surveys for every person that wants to rebuild a retaining wall that may have an ambiguous property line. Deeds. The way these deeds work, most of the deeds say to the high water mark of the pond. It doesn't say so many feet from a foundation or whatever. That property line can actually fluctuate year to year. So
okay. Well, I appreciate that, Joe. I think you've said it well. I think everybody has. So I'd like to. I understand where you're coming from, Bob, and I respect your your thoughts on it for sure. But again, I do feel like Mr. Martin did a very good job, and he has explained it well. He's provided the information that we're looking for. Notwithstanding the engineer's letter, but again, I mentioned that I did speak with the engineer, and that he did feel that there were other methods that could be done to locate the existing stone wall, before, and assure us that after the construction was done, that it was done, not protruding into the lake any further than what is existing today. And obviously, what Cliff gave us seems to fit that well. And the engineer did mention about the crushed stone and the filter fabric, and Cliff is willing to do that, and he's willing to build this thing in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations. So and Cheryl, I'm very pleased with your assessment of the 12-inch from the high water mark, and that it is a conservative method to go by. And we should probably remember that in the future if we get another one of these kind of things. So, anyway, I think does anybody else have any further comments to make? Okay, well, then I'd like to, Cheryl, do you want to make a motion, or you want me to? Since Bob did the last one. And
why don't let's spread the wealth. Go ahead and do it.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the Martin Family Living Trust application at 9 Maple Drive for the retaining wall on their property with the standard conditions, and also that the map that we were provided will clearly show all the stakes that are shown on that plan, and that before any work is done, that the wetlands enforcement officer is given proper notice so that he can go out and he can see it, and that he understands how these points were put in the field, and so that if we needed to, we can always reconstruct it. That the wall will be built in accordance with the manufacturer specifications, noting that we would like to be certain that the filter fabric and the crushed stone be placed, and that the silt fence that is noted on the notes, silt fence to be 6 feet out from the stakes to create the barrier during construction, so that it will stop any debris going into the lake. And I think that's about it. Anybody have anything else to add to that? No?
No.
Okay. All right, so I'll make that motion. And
second.
we have a second, okay. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I abstain.
and one no. So majority rules, application is approved. Make sure that you give Joe good notice, Cliff,
Yeah,
before
certainly.
you do any work out there.
Yeah, and the stakes are out there, presently, if anybody wants to come out and take a look. And if
Okay.
not, when the water goes low again and we can do some construction, I'll let you know.
Okay. All right, so you'll do the construction while the water is lowest, I guess. You're not gonna wait till spring, is that it?
Well, no, the lake is full right now.
Yeah, I mean, are they gonna lower the lake any further this year?
No.
Okay.
So
When-
it might be a year or two now. It depends upon when the lake gets lowered again.
Okay. All right. So we'll wait to hear from you. And in the meantime, thank you for your good work and patience. We'll move on to the next application.
All right. Thank you for accepting.
Yep. Okay. So now we're moving on to new business. Looks like we have another timber harvest, Reynolds property, 127 Wormwood Hill Road.
You missed D, Lenny.
Oh, God. Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay. 96 not highway. So we already talked about this a little bit where we read into the minutes, the site walk that we had. And so I think where we left off on that was that we were going to leave the cease and desist order in place until this meeting. And we had a chance to go out and take a look at it. Now that that has happened, Cheryl, you were on the site walk. Do you have any questions or comments about what you saw?
Well, the only thing I had hoped was that the soil scientist would be at this meeting to talk about the differences between the wetlands delineation that he made versus the one that was made with the original site plan that was filed with the town many, many, many years ago. But I don't see that has happened, so we won't be able to ask about that.
Yep. And Bob, you were there, but what was your feeling on it?
Well, on the issue that Cheryl just brought up, the way I see it is the old line of the wetlands and all the old engineering plans is the accepted line, and what the new plans show is the plans after the work's been done. The work that basically destroyed part of the wetlands. So we're not seeing this new diagram the new soil scientist came up with. It simply shows what exists now, not what existed then before the work was done. So we have two very clear plans that show the difference between the two things. And to me, it's a clear violation. They invaded the wetlands.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. And the two lines that, there were two different soil scientists and there were two lines. And I would say that the majority of the wetland lines was common between the two wetland soil scientists. Where they deviated was at I guess the northerly most section of it. And Joe did say that you can have two soil scientists looking at the same thing and they'll come up with different lines, and that's not totally unusual. However, I would also say that we have a lot of trust and faith in Rick, and he was the one who did it in the first place. And we did go out and look at that the first time when we gave that permit. So it's very. Yep.
Can I interject, Lenny?
Yep, please.
One thing I would also like to add here is that the plan that was submitted with the application, this plan was originally done by town engineering, and it is actually, if you look at the date, it was dated 2017. And what you're looking at is a markup on top of that plan, and there's a, if you actually look at the plan, it says wetlands is delineated by George Logan, professional soil scientist, on 10/20/20 by REMA Ecological Services LLC. One of the things you have to understand too is this is not a plan that was located by a surveyor. This is a plan that was marked up by, I'm going to assume it was George Logan that marked this plan up. So there's going to be, there could be a disparity there as well. There were not, these wetland flags were not located by a surveyor and accurately located as in relation to other things that are there. So there's going to be some disparity there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I do understand that. And, we did give a permit across the street in kind of a similar situation where they built a kind of a parking lot, a gravel parking lot. And one of the things we asked for at that point was a fence along the wetland boundary. Now, the last time that we approved this one, they had those big concrete barriers there. And so, we didn't feel the need at that point to install any fences or anything like that. Now, because of the fact that they are going to be using the rear of that property right up against the wetland boundary quite often, because the only way to heat that building is through a furnace, wood furnace out in the back, on a porch out there. And they got to bring in quite a lot of wood. In fact, they already have brought in quite a bit of wood. So, so they did build, a driveway, which was not there and wasn't part of the approved plan the last time around. So, so my feeling at this point is that given that there could be some discrepancy between the two wetland lines, the fact that, there's been work done there, and we can't at this point really determine from what we have whether or not any wetlands was filled or to what extent it was filled. And at this point, trying to argue where that wetlands was and maybe even requiring somebody to fill out would just make it worse, in my opinion. But I do believe that there has to be some kind of a barrier, and I'm thinking a fence similar to what was done across the street. And I can't remember for sure, but I thought it was like a wooden guardrail, single guardrail that was, set in concrete. And it was a very permanent structure, a very permanent fence, not some plastic thing that, can be, run over, but something that's, pretty significant. So, they did give us quite a bit of information as far as the application and the engineering drawings, and then the new wetlands delineation. So, I don't feel at this point that we should take a drastic look at this and maybe, try to figure out where they might have, filled wetlands and how much and what could possibly be done. I think whatever's been done has been done. And we now know where the wetlands are, and we saw the flags. And like I said, the majority of the two lines were very similar. They were the same, actually. So I think that at this point, we could, require some kind of a barrier, a fence, something permanent and substantial that would, go right up, against the wetlands, basically where the driveway has been built. I mean, the driveway now it looks like crushed stone, and and like I say, it's being used, all the time. But I would feel better if we could at least get something substantial along that wetland boundary to assure ourselves that there won't be any further encroachment, and that they will know, exactly where the limits of their, occupying of that area back there is. What do you think of that, Joe? You were part of that.
Yeah, no, I think that's reasonable.
Okay. All
And
right.
may I speak?
Bob, you were out there, Bob. What do you, you have any further thoughts?
Well, I agree with everything you said. I certainly agree about the barrier. That would, if it is a substantial permanent barrier, that would give us a better level of insurance that the wetlands are not going to be encroached upon again, no matter how much we believe they've been encroached upon this time. It is a classic case of, these guys have created facts on the ground.
Yeah.
And, there's very little we can do about it without being very heavy-handed about it. So I think your barrier is a good compromise.
Okay. Cheryl, how do you feel about it?
So I have two thoughts. Besides, I mean, I do think the barrier is a great idea. I don't think we should act on it today. The reason I say that is I'd like to see two things. One is I'd like to see either a letter from the soil scientist explaining the discrepancy in the wetland delineation, or if he would come to the next meeting, one of those two things. And then secondly, Joe, I had a question for you. So I assume this was based on a complaint, that the original violation. Do we have any
Yes.
photographs of what it looked like? I remember you gave us something with showing brush, but do you have additional photographs that show fill or anything like that that you could share with us?
I would have to take a look at my phone. But yeah, usually when there's some sort of violation, I usually take a few initial photographs, and I kind of show the initial line of disturbance. Obviously, there wouldn't be any wetland flags or anything, but yeah, I do have photos. I'll just have to chase them down for you.
I think that would be really good for us to see just before we make any kind of decision on this. But more importantly, I really think it's important to get, the soil scientist report did not include any discussion of fill or anything like that. It talked about the kinds of soils that were present. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It did not. Yep.
So if he could addend his report to include a discussion of what any discrepancies between his delineation and the previous one, and maybe part of it is because of surveying, I don't really know, but also, and discuss any fill that he may see on the property, and whether that he feels that has been placed in the wetland. I mean, and I think the soil scientist has the ability to tell that, because they can dig down and take borings and just.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're there with a soil auger. Yeah, and this site here, it's painfully obvious where the line of disturbance is. So yeah.
Right. So I'd really like to see that before we make a decision on this, and I'd really like to be able to do that next month.
Well, again,
Okay.
you guys received this application October 7th, and you actually have till March 2nd to issue a denial or approval on this one.
Right. So I think we have some time, and I think it's important to take that time and get it right.
Okay. And also, Joe, I would add that I'd like to see some sort of proposal from them as to what kind of a permanent, fence, guardrail, they would propose. and that, stressing that this thing has to be permanent, it has to be anchored in concrete, and it's got to be substantial because, we're right up against the wetlands. We do have some problems out there, and they're bringing trucks in and out of there very frequently. Okay?
Yep, I can
All
do
right.
that.
Okay.
I do want to add though, I have been inspecting the site and they have been very good about, as far as the vehicles and stuff they're bringing in there. I have not seen any indication whatsoever of petroleum or oils or anything like that migrating towards the wetlands. So
good.
Thus far. So
okay. All right. Anybody have anything else you want to add to that? So we'll just table it for one more month. Put it on the agenda next month.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Do you want to take a vote to table it, or?
No, we don't need to. We're just going to continue the discussion till next month.
And the applicant is here, right? So Ron, can you tell us that you understand what we're asking for?
Yes, I understand what you're asking for. Before the next meeting, we'll have a plan that we'll send to you guys. We're going to have an engineer come up with a barrier. And so we'll have him draw a sketch. And we'll get a letter or have the soil scientist at the next meeting to explain the difference in the two lines between the old survey and the new one as far as the wetlands delineation.
Okay.
So I understand the two things you need, and we'll supply them.
Great. And Joe, you'll get those additional photos to us.
I can do that. Yep.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Well, I've been trying to get to this timber harvest and passing by everything else. I think we finally made it to new business. So timber harvest is Reynolds property, 127 Wormwood Hill Road. And we did get the application in, the notification of timber harvest. Joe, you had a chance to take a look at that?
I have not been out on site yet, no.
Okay, how's the application complete?
Well, again, it's technically not an application. This is a notification.
Yeah.
So what they are requesting from you is a non-jurisdictional ruling that this falls under Section 4 of your regulations as a permitted use as of right under agriculture.
Yeah.
This is very typical. This is very typical of most of the whole forest management applications. So we're looking at one temporary stream crossing.
Yeah. Yeah. And 20,480 board feet, 21 cords.
Yep. And this is going on 21 acres. So in forestry terms, that's a pretty light harvest. It's actually more of a thinning. This isn't your typical timber harvest where they're going through and they're taking all the trees, 14 inches and bigger.
Right.
And I'm guessing at the size of, if you take a look at the cutting plan, if you look at the actual area that they're accessing on the far side of the wetlands, I really don't see a large acreage there. So it's probably going to be a limited amount of trips actually across that crossing to bring the forest products on the other side.
Okay. All right. Do you plan on going out there and taking a look at it at some point?
Oh yes, I do. I do review these all while they're ongoing. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So would someone like to, I guess, confirm that this is a Section 4 as of right approval and allow it?
I move that. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And Ken's an aye too. All right, Joe, keep us informed what's happening out there and let us know when you had a chance to go out and look at it.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, now, under new business, item B. Cheryl, are you still with us?
Yeah,
So, the 2021 budget.
right.
So, I know that you need input from us like now, I guess.
Are you talking about me or Cheryl?
No,
Baker?
not you, Cheryl. Cheryl Baker. Cheryl Baker?
Sorry, I had wandered off.
Okay. So we're just at the point where we're looking at the 2021 budget. And I know you sent something to us a while ago. We really didn't have much input. I mean, it looked like it was a fair budget. It was, I mean, don't plan on spending much money here.
21, 22?
Well, it said
The budget.
Yeah, for this year.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to go to finance board, I guess, soon.
Well, it goes to the Board of Selectmen first. So I've got,
Okay.
I think I requested them by January 13th.
Okay. So, I mean, my only real concern would be to make sure that, Joe's work is, is covered. I know we didn't have a whole lot of applications and approvals last year, but he has been very helpful to us. And from what I saw, it looked like the budget was pretty consistent from the year before.
Mhm.
And then, there's a little bit of money in there in case we wanted to take some classes. We usually take a couple, during the year, which are not very expensive. But of course, with the COVID this year, none of us did anything.
Right.
But I
Most
just
of
would
them
like
are
to,
online anyway.
yeah, but I'd like to keep that in. And Cheryl, you had talked to, I guess, NECOG about some ongoing classes that they might come up with in the spring.
Are you talking to this Cheryl or that Cheryl?
Yeah, you, Cheryl Chase.
Okay. No, I talked to Deep about the wetlands training program, and
Yeah,
right now they're working on a new platform. I think they've lost their old platform, but
Yeah.
once that platform is up and running, I
Yeah.
have heard that there are some really good new training classes that
Yeah.
they're going to be provided, and they will be online. But
Yeah.
I believe one of them, they always offer at least one slot per commission for free.
Yeah.
But in case other folks want to take it, it might be nice to have some
Yeah.
training money in.
So in the past, we had, basically, I mean, I don't want to say mandatory, but we felt that it was very important that we all get that little certification. I remember taking it. I think we took it up in Putnam. It was over several weeks. It was very good, and we learned a lot. And then, of course, there were supplemental things, during the year as well. So, and since
Right. And the other thing is, Linda, is that, and I totally agree with that. There's always new laws being passed. Well, not always, but there's often new laws and also new precedent being set that relates to, town commissions. And it's really, really good to be able to hear about those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you still have friends at DEP, just keep us informed, if and when they do come around. I mean, at this point, I think I'm the only member that comes on any regular basis that took the classes. So I would highly recommend the three of you guys, and I'd like to take it again myself. So that's the budget. Cheryl, I sent to you today the annual report.
Yes.
Okay, Cheryl, me or Cheryl Baker?
I'm sorry, Cheryl Baker.
Okay.
Well,
you gotta be
Cheryl
specific.
Chase.
This has been an ongoing problem.
Cheryl Chase, you also got one. I think Bob might have sent it to you. So the town was very specific about what should be in it.
Mm-hmm.
I did take a look at one or two the years past. I think Michael probably did one very good one. So I just kind of piggybacked off of what he did and what they did the year before. I called Ray Fenn, and he gave me some feedback too. So, I feel like we followed the directions. The only thing that I did not put in there, and it was kind of on purpose, was you had a section in there that said new plans, programs, initiatives, and since there are no classes at this point, and we don't know when they're going to be, I don't know. I really didn't know what to put in there. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're going to do business as usual, and hopefully try to get some more members to come on a more regular basis. But we're kind of struggling to get a quorum every month at this point.
Yeah, it's tough to find volunteers.
It is, and we've got some great people. I mean, Rick Zulik is fabulous, and I miss him, and I wish he would come, but I know he's got lots of things on his plate. And the two other guys, been on the commission since Wetlands began, and they know every nook and cranny of this town. And when we put everybody together, especially Jack Barkley, who was a professor at UConn and just brilliant when it came to all the different plants and all that. I mean, we'd have a great commission if we could all come. So if there was anything that I would put in there, I wouldn't put it in there, but I would just say that I would really hope that some of the members that would come and help us, because we like them, we need them. But other than that, that's why I left that blank. And if you
that's fine.
wanted to put something in there, the only thing I could say is that we would be looking forward to any kind of DEEP educational courses and certifications to take if and when they do come. That would be the only thing I would say.
Do you want me to add that in?
Well, yeah, if you would like. Yeah,
Okay.
That's fine. Yep.
All right, because a lot of times we don't know what's coming in the next year. So people will put in, plan 2 or, those sorts of things, because we have good intentions, and we want everyone to know we have good intentions, even though we aren't always able to do everything we say we're going to do.
Yeah.
Like this year, for example, we can't do anything we said we were going to do.
Yeah. I know. But anyway, I please put that in for us.
Okay, sure.
And
and your budget, if you just, I would add in something for the training, even if you don't.
Well, I think there is something in there. We usually have some kind of money in there for miscellaneous expenses or something. And the classes are cheap. I mean, $40 or something like that. And then I think they did give us some mileage money, and we used to, like, everybody would go together in one car or 2 cars. And so it was very reasonable. And I don't even think I ever asked for any money for anything, but
No, I don't
anyway.
But make sure you put enough in so everybody on the commission, even your alternate.
Could you send me another copy of that budget? I can't find the one you sent me.
Yep, I will just forward you the one that's
and
there.
I'll take a look at it. I probably won't be able to get back to you till Thursday, if that's okay.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we're using a new finance system, so we're overwhelmed anyway.
Okay.
So
right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
So now also we did approve the 2021 meeting schedule, and I think we sent that to you too, Cheryl Baker. Is that?
I don't have the folder with me.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I know Bob Michael did a good job on it.
I think I did see it because I put it on the website.
Okay.
I did, yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Very good. All right. So moving on, agents report. Joe, do you have anything more you want to add?
No, I think we got everything covered.
Okay. Item 7 is the members' comments. We got any comments from members?
Yeah, I've got
a
comment. There's been a number of things that you and I, and to a certain extent Joe, have been talking about who's responsible for what.
Yeah.
Since Mike left us,
Yeah.
there's been a few things falling
Yeah.
between the cracks, and one of them was, the agenda for these site visits.
Yeah.
Who's actually? I mean, do we need an agenda for a site visit when the site visit is in the minute?
That's a good.
That it was decided, for example.
Very good. Yeah. And let me just address that for a second. So, I can't remember who sent it to us, but they actually cited the statute that required us to do that, and so I read that part of it, but I did not read anything about the timing of it. So like for instance, the last site visit that we had, at Not Highway, I think that we just decided at that meeting that we would have the site walk like within a couple of days.
It was within one day, really.
Yeah, so we didn't really have any time at all to post something and all that kind of stuff. So, Cheryl Baker, I don't know if is there any notice period, or maybe we should. Or Joe, you got something?
Yes, I can interject. Technically, you guys really didn't have a legal meeting because you didn't have a quorum.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So you lucked out there in that case, but Cheryl is correct that, if it is going to be official meeting, it does have to technically be posted 24 hours preceding a given meeting. So, having learned that, next time you guys are going to do a site walk, we'll try to post it, we'll try to set it so that we can do that.
And Joe, do we post it just on this town website, or is there other places you got to?
Technically, it should be on the town website, but also we have to send a copy to the town clerk, and she actually physically posts it on the board, so that people can read it.
Okay. So then to Bob's question is, who's going to be doing this? I mean, I'm relying on Bob to do an awful lot of work these days. I pepper him with questions during the month.
Right, and Bob's being a real trooper and doing this stuff. He's filling in gaps for me too now. But but technically it should fall on the Inland Wetlands board here. It's either me or the administrative assistant to try to get that stuff done. It's not his responsibility to do that.
Now, Cheryl Baker, is Mike Gardner, is he still functioning in some way with the town at all, or?
Yeah, he's our emergency management director.
Yeah. And does he have anything to do with planning and zoning or anything like that?
He was just filling in because we lost Beverly. So he was kind of filling in there, just keeping the building part going. Yeah. And he's assisting in training our new land use clerk or building clerk, Katie Connolly.
Okay.
And it's quite a learning curve.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really liked having Mike there. Yeah. And obviously he did a great job for many years for our wetland commission. Yeah. And I don't know, but Joe is pretty overwhelmed as well, and he's working for a bunch of towns, including ours and others. And I don't want to put any further pressure on Bob Michael. Is there a possibility that Mike Gardner could fill in, in places where maybe we should take another look at that budget and have a small amount of money just for. I mean, these site walks don't happen very often. I mean, they're few and far between. Actually, we had a few lately, but normally we don't have many. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I should talk to Joe offline.
Yeah.
See. Yeah, I couldn't speak for Michael Gardner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's out of it completely, Mike. I mean, he's Lenny. He's right now he's just kind of doing us a favor and kind of. Yeah. Breaking her into all the processes and stuff. Yeah. So I think within a month here we're gonna be up and running, and it won't be an issue. So
yeah,
we'll get the agendas out and everything. We just had a really, the last 2 months have been a real bummer with trying to get the computers to work and the Microsoft Outlook, and there's been a lot of glitches, and it's been a real pain in the butt to try to get things functioning correctly.
All right.
Well, even to the point where I can't even scan documents without getting on other people's computers.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. So.
All right. Well, Joe, let's you and I talk, offline. I'm not available tomorrow. I'll be out of the state, but on Thursday or Friday at your convenience, give me a call and we'll revisit that a little bit. Yep. And I guess that's all I have.
Well, one point about these site visits. I've only ever seen one site visit where we've had a quorum. So does that mean that we shouldn't write the minutes of site visits that don't have a quorum? Or should I write minutes that are informal minutes because there wasn't a quorum? I mean, how should I?
Go ahead, Joe.
I can add to that. One of the things that we do in a lot of towns is, again, if you're going to have a formal site visit, and again, and these usually happen with, like high profile applications or something where 6 out of 8 members are going to want to look at it, then you're kind of forced to do the whole rigmarole where you're doing the formal site visit and your minutes and you're noticing it and all that, which incidentally, when you go through that process, it's a formal meeting. So if the public being anybody wants to show up at that meeting, they can do that. What happens in most towns is they do what we call informal site walks. So the applicant, being, 123 Zayacheck Road, whatever, they will say, listen, we don't care, if application, if Wetland Commission members want to show up and review our application at their convenience, they can do that. And again, site walks are really supposed to be for purposes of, figuring out what's where and kind of looking at the site and things like that. So if you have a site plan, there's nothing stopping two Wetlands Commission members from showing up and taking a look at the site. It doesn't have to be all, 4 of you or whatever. So that's kind of one of the ways you get around the whole meeting thing and noticing, and it can kind of be a problem, So
I shouldn't write such minutes then, where it comes down to.
Only the only time you should be doing minutes or noticing meetings is if there's a quorum present.
Okay, so when we talk about an informal site visit, there's nothing written down. We just discuss it at the next formal meeting of the commission.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, just to reaffirm here, site walks are for purposes of orientation only. You're not there to talk with applicants. You're not there to talk about, I think you should have, you should be building this, or you should be building that, or you can't do this. It's simply to orient yourself with the site, look at conditions, and make your own decisions.
All right. So I guess when we're discussing the application, and then we get to the point where I ask if people would like to do a site visit, and then everybody says yes. So we have to probably be more specific and say, how many people really want to go.
Exactly.
Right? And then, the applicant has to give us permission. We cannot walk on anybody's property without their permission. So it's
right.
Not
and
like
one of the things that happens, Lenny, is when they sign your application, the second signature line says that they're allowing you as a commission or commission members to access their site.
Right, but
it's good. It is good to do that, though. You talk with them and say, "Hey, do you mind if 2 of us come out here on Tuesday and one guy comes out on Thursday or whatever?" And that's the way to do it.
And look, I mean, if we have everybody wants to do it and we all want to go together, we'll do the proper notice and we'll file it with the town clerk and we'll put it in the town website and we'll do it the right way. But so far, I mean, of all the site visits we've had, especially around the lake there, we've never had more than 3 people. So anyway, okay. Well, Joe, we'll talk about that some more too. All right. Any other comments from members?
Yeah, I just want to make one comment about this business of where is the lake shore.
Where's what?
Came up. Where is the lake shore?
Lake shore.
Yes, the issues we talked about earlier that I objected to concerning the property line and where the wetlands actually are.
Yeah.
This continues to bend my mind a little bit because when you were talking, you were saying that the Lake Association agrees with this wall or that wall, the position of the wall and all the rest of it. But isn't that, it's our jurisdiction to protect the wetlands, not officially and legally the Lake Association. So we should be making the decisions about where the lake shore is or is not, or whether we're going to allow a wall to be built there or not. And I think that's an important distinction. I don't think we can use as a reason to allow somebody to do something just because the Lake Association happens to go along with it, because they're not part of the commission. So
well, they are in a butter, but it's a point well taken, and I think Joe made a very good point about that. You know, that we're there to protect the wetlands, and we're not there to figure out. We're not surveyors, and we're not there to figure out where everybody's property lines are. All we know is that there's an existing wall that's in place today, and the applicant wants to build another wall to take the place of the one that's there. And my only feeling was that we just don't want that wall to be built any further into the pond than it is today, so that there is no chance.
I didn't want to re-argue that point. I just wanted to be clear that the people who have this jurisdiction over where the wetlands are is the commission, and not the applicants of any nature, whether they're abutters or not. And I think it's a
good point, Bob. It's a good point. Let's let that let's think about that over the next month, and maybe bring it up again, and we could talk about it. Yeah, Mike.
I know that you don't let the public speak, but I just want to say that I just wanted to say that I respect the commission and everything that they're doing, especially in regards to things that are happening at Lake Chaffee. As the president, as you have seen in the last 4 months, I'm at every meeting and not disconnecting after my particular thing is heard or somebody's particular thing is heard. I stay all the way to the end and listen to everything. But I do want to say that I highly appreciate that you're paying attention to the applications that come in front of you and are taking each one at its own merit. And, you know, regardless of outcome, I just want to say that myself personally and the LCIA appreciate that you're paying attention. And to Bob's point, I'm appreciative that he's bringing up questions about property lines, and, you know, he's entitled to opinion. I respect that as well. And I appreciate that he brings it up because it is important. You do have a lot of people doing a lot of things on Sunday afternoons when you guys are watching football and I'm watching football. And, you know, I just appreciate all, you know, one last night, I just appreciate everything that you're doing, and you're taking, you know, 2.5 hours out of your evening to pay attention to things that involve our lake. And I just wanted to say on the record that I appreciate that. And I thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate that very much, Mike. And we're believe me, we're very dedicated to try to, you know, protect the wetlands in this town. We love this town, and we're doing the best that we can. And I just wish we had more members to come, because we have a terrific commission. And when we're all together, I just think I've been on the commission for more than 20 years now. And, you know, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy all these people. So anyway, thank you again. All right.
Lenny, I can't resist making a further comment. I have lakeshore property on Ashford Lake, and I know exactly where my property line is on the lake shore. It's delineated carefully in my deed. And irrespective of what the deeds look like in the Chaffee area, a qualified surveyor can resolve that issue. So it's not true that the lake shore is the property line for any property owner. The property line should be defined in the deeds, and it's defined usually by numbers of feet from some certain point. I don't think we should labor under the impression that there is no definition of property lines, and therefore that there is no definition of where the wetlands are, because with a lake, the wetlands are the lake. Where the lake stops is the edge of the wetlands, and that stops at the property owner's land. So I
Well,
don't
not necessarily, Bob. I mean, the wetlands, you know, you define the wetlands by the soil type. And we could go and put core samples all the way up to the front door, and they could easily be wetlands, you know, soils for all we know. But
Well,
anyway,
there's wetlands and there's watercourses. So wetland,
exactly.
a wetland is defined by soil type, but a watercourse is
right.
something altogether different. And the watercourse is the lake, and if there's water there, then it's a watercourse. So,
Yeah.
and you know, the property line could have eroded a long time ago, and it could be 4 feet further out into the lake, but the edge of the wetland is still where the water hits the land.
Right.
So,
right.
And there's another problem as well, is a lot of these property owners fill the lake with sand in order to make a beach. And they fill that often enough, it suddenly starts to look like land as grass grows over it and so on. And then they start claiming part of the lake. So where the original property line is an important guard against that type of activity when we're making our decisions.
Okay, point well taken. I appreciate the comments. All right, so we'll think about that, and we'll try to address it again next month. In the meantime, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Nice job tonight. Thank you, Ken. Talk to you again. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay.